the map. Super cute. It's really super cute. And there's a bishopric right there, so that's a little church. So that's actually pretty darn. So that's actually really darn cute. There's so much to go over. There's so much to go over. What am I doing right now? Okay, a sin that's like sinful to your religion. That means that's -10 to everyone of your religion, which is huge if you're in a vaguely mono-religious, monocultural area. And a sin that's like sinful to your religion. That means that's -10 to everyone of your religion, which is huge if you're in a vaguely mono-religious, monocultural area. And on top of that, it's piety -1. So this character's just not getting piety, basically, which means this character's not going to be able to do much with piety, which is unfortunate. Now, some people have mentioned, of course, I think it would be, you're still 1, so we should be able to go to play character. Can we rename you at this point? We should be able to rename you. Arrange, pin, open barbershop. How do we rename you? Can we just click here? I mean, you used to be able to rename people who are related to you below a certain age. But possibly you're not anymore? I've not actually checked this. I don't see where I click to make it say. What you can do is you can take any character who's close to you, and you can just dress them up as you want, which I think is really cute. Including, if you want to, you can just give them a really nice crown. So I'm just going to give my kid a crown, which is nice. And we're going to have some nice long flowing hair. And there we go. Now my child has a massive crown, which I think is very important to me. Which is very, very important to me. Okay, I should marry. I think if I could find someone to marry in Gwyneth, get Gwyneth on side. Me and Gwyneth could be good friends potentially. So yeah, we're going to. I want to look for someone to get married to. I'm just going to, find a spouse. So I can either arrange marriage internally or found spouse externally, which is useful. But yeah, what we really want is... Some of this is fine, but rather than, you arrange by rank, which is useful.
Renaming was from DLC, Malthus says, in CK2. Carly says you can't rename unless it was born after the game starts, which also would make sense.
Fair enough.
We're just gonna get on with making some babies so we can rename them.
Makes sense to me.
Jinx confirms renaming in CK2 was very late game, but it's the kind of thing that if they know the community likes and wants, they might have now put in early in CK3. I mean, I think possibly a lot of the really, really good reviews that you were mentioning were because people were afraid that the game was going to be empty with that DLC at launch, and it's not.
No, not at all. There's a lot of stuff in it. The reason I'm carefully choosing my wife, by the way, is because a close marriage alliance a close marriage is now automatically an alliance. You do not need to convert a marriage into an alliance. It just is an alliance. So what you often see in 1066 is like William of Normandy gets all his children married off in the first month or two, and then calls all his new allies into war, and all of a sudden the War of 1066 turns into like a 5 versus 5 scrum where everyone shows up. It's the dumbest thing, and I love it. It's so dumb. Would you believe there's no Sunset Invasion? I don't know whether that'll be back. It would be kind of cute if it was. I don't know whether they'd do that again. I'd like to... Maybe it could be something else. Maybe it could be an elf invasion from the north. It could be from Santa. You can't have an open marriage rather the rules of marriage are defined by your religion. So because I'm religion, I'm stuck being monogamous, and the Pope has to give me permission for divorces, which is very, very limiting. So which is why you might want to potentially break away Tudor style. But if you were part of a different religion that allowed concubines or polygamy, yes, you can. And there's nothing to stop you having as many secret lovers as you want, but depending on the rules of your religion, it could work out really bad for you, depending on what adultery is. So in Catholicism, it's shunned but not criminal to have secret extra lovers. So might be worth it, might not be. I do actually have a child despite having a wife. Where did you come from? We don't know. We just didn't come from anywhere. I need to find someone who's kind of close by. So find a spouse. Anyone who's Duchy of Cantabria, High Chieftain of... you're over in... that's someone over there in Ireland. Perfect world. I need someone a bit more County of Anjou, County of Provence. I need someone a little bit more powerful. Then again, actually, no, I should just prioritise getting someone good in. Right now, my stats are not spectacular. Let's just arrange my potential wives by... Oh, you'll do. You're solid with a 20 diplomacy, age 21, and intelligent.
Nice, very nice.
I mean, that's, genetically can be passed on.
Yeah.
Okay, it's harder to do selective breeding than it used to be. So I'm just going to get you on board. That's fine. I actually lose prestige because she's kind of lowborn or whatever. But that's fine. It's harder to pass on positive genes because you need to really invest in that. If you want to get a good breeding program going on, it takes more investment than it used to be. It really does. So I've got no troops. Okay, that's a concern. So I need to invest in my invest in my cities at some point because I've got none. So I need to get some money in. I just need to get some money as the starting point. I can't. Hang on. I assume I can't. Yeah, I can't raid. Because I'm feudal and whatever. So, yeah, in a perfect world, we need to get you nice and hooked up with somebody nearby. I think Gwyneth is actually a good bet. You've got a nice young daughter, right? That's son. You. Right, you. How about we arrange a nice marriage between you and my son and heir, and doesn't need to be matrilineal. She'll accept that, which is absolutely fine. That gets me an alliance right there with him over in Gwyneth, and he seems pretty strong, so I'm going to send that over. So yeah, we're just going to let that kind of kick off, and hang on, my education is in... Ooh, my education's in intrigue, though I'm kind of bad at it, actually. I'm kind of bad at it. Okay. What I'll probably do is I'll go over to diplomacy and I'll take family focus just to basically get some children out anyway, which I could go for temptation focus to get the same fertility, but I'm just going to be leveling up a little bit faster. I'm already focused in torture. Apparently I'm very good at torture, because if you inherit a character who's a certain age, the game assumes they've been investing in their lifestyle tree already. So let's go over to a little bit of diplomacy. We'll go over to family focus. We'll start there. We'll start building up some experience and start getting some perks there. So there we go. That's all we need, kind of the basics. I assume also... Yes, I actually get to control my own tech tree. Because... yeah, I'm actually... Hang on. Yes, I'm the head of the Cornish culture. Because I'm part of a tiny culture, it means I kind of have a lot more control over my tech. If I was, say French... Then if I was a small French count, I wouldn't have control over the French tech tree, because tech is handled at the culture level. So I get to choose what I do and don't want to specialise. So, what I want to do. Start moving Gavelkind so we can start getting special, some Gavelkind variations. Okay, so here's one of the biggest changes. So, in Crusader Kings 2, you kind of probably want to rush towards primogeniture really early on. Because primogeniture is good, and you don't really want to have Gavelkind. You can't do that anymore. You can't do that because if you want to have primogeniture, if you want to set things over to say to primogeniture, then the only way to have primogeniture is to have the primogeniture innovation. That is a tech. It is a late medieval tech specifically. So if we just look at the tech tree. Over here. Right now I'm actually still doing... If you're doing the 867 start especially, you're still in tribal. So before you're allowed to start researching anything in early medieval, then you need to have done 50% of the tribal era's tech. So we're almost there for that. Then to get into high medieval, you need to have done... I think you need to have done again half of that, plus it needs to be 1050. To get into late medieval, it needs to be 1200 AD, and you need to have done a certain number of techs from high medieval, and then, and only then, can you start researching primogeniture. Okay? So, you are going to not have primogeniture for centuries. So, you're just going to have to deal... You're going to have to deal with different...
I want Gavelkind.
Well, it's not Gavelkind anymore. There's variants of Gavelkind. So, you've got, Confederate Partition, where everything gets divided equally between all children. You can earlier get slightly better versions of Gavelkind. So you've got this version which is Partition, where titles are divided evenly, but player heir always gains the best shit. Your primary title and de jure stuff underneath it. Then a bit later, you can get High Partition, where the lion's share of the titles go to your primary heir. So, like, most stuff goes, but a bunch of stuff doesn't.
Oh, the chat is not excited about Gavelkind.
I know!
It sounds like a lot of murdered babies, says Tommy, who has a point.
So you can form, like, you can have revised Gavelkind. You can make you're stuck with Gavelkind for a bit longer, but you can kind of, like, have improved versions of Gavelkind as time goes on, where it's like half primogeniture, High Partition, where, like, you know, like, half your stuff's going to go to one, but the other stuff's going to go to somebody else. There are a bunch of elective monarchies that are they just are elective monarchies, where the actual the kingdom title itself changes. But yeah, like, I think what's the earliest you can get here? So yeah, you can get, like, house seniority a bit earlier. You can get that a bit earlier. Primogeniture you have to wait for bloody ages for, because primogeniture is that's just really, really late. Ultimogeniture is okay, so ultimogeniture and primogeniture both come at the same time in late medieval. House seniority comes a little bit older, where the oldest house member inherits. But that one's a bit dodgy, because your house can contain a lot of people. I have not seen any sign of Tanistry yet. I don't know whether that's even a thing anymore. They might have thought, you know what, Tanistry was a bit too nice. So that's, like, one of the big changes right there. That's a huge, huge change. That you actually have to, like, you can't just, you know, rush. Because I think in Critically too, you could reasonably rush primogeniture inside, like, the within, like, the first one or two kings.
Yeah.
You could just rush it. Because you say, you know what, just get me up to Legalism 4 or whatever it was. Get straight to that. So if someone was asking how the tech actually works, by the way, so the way tech works is it's done at the Anglo-Saxon. Everyone who's Anglo-Saxon will have the exact same tech, okay? And you're going to start off with a bunch of techs that make sense for your culture, in that year to have. So more advanced people, like, you know, the Byzantine Empire are going to start off relatively advanced. You know, tribes down in Africa or up in the, you know, wastes of Scandinavia are going to be relatively not advanced. They're going to start off with less tech. So you're going to start off with a bunch of techs, and then there's going to be techs that don't show up. And some of them are going to take longer. Like, for example, right now, it's going to take me, organically, 400 years to basically get mots, like a type of natural defense. Which would be very useful. Yes?
I've got people in chat saying Tanistry is for the Irish and the Welsh.
Ah!
The Cornish just wouldn't have it, and also the Cornish just won't get primogeniture. It says...
the way up to. But, like, basically, because I control the most Cornish territory, because I control the only Cornish territory, I can pick a fascination, which is basically me saying, there's a thing I want to happen faster. So... this now is going to happen in 40 years rather than, what would have been before, 400. So it happens like 10 times faster. So once I have a certain number of texts, I can either keep doing these texts or I can move on to early medieval if the time is correct. So, basically, it's going to take me a while to work my way up towards primogeniture. And yet saying no, they're right. They're saying this is not available to the Cornish. Do I get something else instead in that case?
I mean, I don't know. People really want to know if Tanistry is going to be a thing.
Well, it's very fast. We can actually check this because, like, you can very easily just abandon your run and go to a different one. You just say, you know what, switch character, take me over to a Welsh person. Boom, now I'm playing as the Welsh. So we can check. We can actually check whether they get anything different, and we can just go back to Cornwall. As long as they don't unpause, nothing happens, so it's fine.
Alright, by the way, chat, if you've got any questions about the game, and, you know, you can always reply me in chat or the mods and ask questions about the game. I've asked the mods to help me, like, pick interesting questions about the game to ask John, because it's going very fast! And I might miss some stuff, so, you can ask in chat, and I'm gonna do my best to give questions to John. But, John, I'm afraid today you might have to let me talk more than usual, because
What?
there's a lot
Boo.
of comments.
Boo. But yeah, it looks like here, as you're saying, there's a bunch of people that just don't get. So like the Welsh also do not get primogeniture. So possibly a bunch of Celtic cultures just don't get access to that. They just can't have that tech for whatever reason. And okay, these are all saying not available to the Welsh, which is okay. Wales just doesn't get tech apparently.
Wow.
In fact, I'm starting to be suspicious it's just saying not available to the Welsh because I'm not in that era. Because literally it's saying not available to the Welsh against everything. So I'm starting to suspect... I think it's only saying that because I'm not in this era yet. Because otherwise Wales isn't allowed any technology. And, you know, I've been to Wales. That's fair. They do indeed have no technology. It's just people putting stones up their noses.
Yeah, I've definitely got, Hamza in chat says not available means you don't have it now, but you can in future.
Yeah, I think that's what it must be, because literally everything is saying not available to the Welsh. So I think it's a slightly unclearly worded tooltip, because I can see how that would absolutely be very easy to not understand. So that's absolutely fair. If we see if we can find an example of this, but if I go over to the Kingdom of France, and hang on, where's the line of succession for Kingdom of France? I know you can check that feudal kingdom thing, succession law, confederate. Absolutely, kingdoms. I've seen this that are just fundamentally elective, and they're always going to be. I think they're always going to be elective. I think England in 1066 is one of them, if I recall correctly. But I think possibly because we've started in 867. All of them, because like the whole point of this era of Central Western European history is kingdoms falling the flip apart. They're all going to be partition. Which is what Gavelkind's called now. It's called partition of varying descriptions. Yeah, they're all Confederate partition. I love the tooltips, by the way. It's so much easier to get information now, because if you just hover over something, it just appears. And you know you get information about the tooltip, and you get information about the tooltip's tooltip, and about the tooltip's tooltip, and you can just keep going until it just looks like you've kind of accidentally, you've got a virus on your computer, and you've just got deeper and deeper, and it never ever stops.
I wanted to ask you about that because I've got a question in chat that's like, Claire, get him to show us the game rules or whatever.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if, immediately I thought to myself, like, Crusader Kings 3 game rules, surely there's not, like, one screen that gives you all the rules, because there's so many of them.
Yeah. Actually, in 867, Byzantine Empire is listed as primogeniture, not imperial elective, so I don't know if the wacky, fixed ones, like imperial elective, that were introduced for Holy Roman Empire and Byzantine Empire, are actually in the game yet. I hadn't noticed that before, but Byzantine Empire is listed as primogeniture in 867, which is weird. Look at Wessex succession. Alright, we'll check out the Wessex succession. That is Confederate partition, same as before. So, possibly they're going to add in a bunch of, different wacky cultural specific ones down the line. Because it looks to me like right now, some of the more unique flavoury ones from Crusader Kings 2 aren't there yet. And this is, I'm learning this stuff as you do, because there's so much stuff I don't have time to look at. Because right now it looks like there's only these. Let's just jump over to the Byzantine Empire, nice and quickly.
Well, while you do that, can you answer the question just asking about a screen with game rules?
Oh,
is that a thing, or is it just a tooltip?
Well, what there is there is a tutorial you can play. There's an interactive tutorial that's better than the one in Crusader Kings 2. There is a really nice encyclopedia where you can just, search for whatever. And, it is a very good point.
I'm so sorry!
That's a very good point. Switch character. Back to Cornwall. I'm just going to drop a save to save the... This is going to be a discussion live stream. Not a detailed playthrough, and also when you play as someone, they're then on the however you've dressed them up and whoever they are, their wife and their heir is on the title screen. So if you dress them up ridiculously, it's wonderful. So that's kind of good. Good. So yes, you're right. What you can do is just pick anyone at random. And yes, game rules. There's not as many these days as there used to be. So you've got difficulty, which is just very easy or normal. I just play on normal by default because that seems fine. Exclave Independent. You've got multiplayer murder schemes. Minor diseases, where you can have fewer or normal. You can change the gender rules if that's what you want. So, yeah, obviously, by default, there's a lot of... Basically, every title is going to be male-preferred or male-dominated. Mm-hmm. So you can just change that to equality if you'd rather play that way. And indeed, you can actually invert. I don't know if that was an option in Crusader Kings 2 from the start, but you can invert the laws. So basically, if in most starts, it's going to be female-dominated everywhere. So if you want to do that, you've got heresies that you can turn on or off. You can make them strict, relaxed, or normal. The Mongol invasion will be showing up in either 1200 random or not at all. Casus Belli, because Casus Belli costs prestige by default. But yes, you can just set those to be free. Because yes, you need to pay to start every war these days. But yeah, you can just turn that off if you'd rather. Culture conversion speed, so basically the speed at which things will naturally go to you can be, there's 5 levels of that, for slightly slower, really slower, or the same for fast. Same thing for faith, obviously. You've got your end dates, which is just 1453 again, or just not at all. Diplomatic range can be restricted, unrestricted, or normal. De jure requirements in terms of all sorts of bits and pieces. Custom kingdom, so you can create your own kingdom by decision. That's in right from the beginning. Generate families, on or off. So if you'd rather not have an automatic wife, which can be useful. Especially if you can set that for on AI only. So therefore you can pick your own wife the moment the game begins, which is quite useful. Same-sex relationships, so by default, of course, you're going to be bound by your faith's doctrines, but if you'd rather just change that, then everyone can just, everyone just get with everybody and no one cares anymore. Sexuality distribution, so yes, right now it doesn't tell you what the exact distribution is, but what you'll see is, you can check a character's sexual orientation now, it does actually say. Oh, yeah. Characters can be heterosexual, bisexual, or homosexual. I don't think asexuality is represented in the game. If it is, I've not seen it.
I thought they said that it would be in one of the dev diaries.
I think that's a trait, not I think it's a trait you can pick up, not a thing. If it's an actual fixed sexuality that's put in the same place as heterosexuality, I haven't seen it. But I've not seen one out in the wild. And basically that affects who you can and can't seduce. Because if you are a man and a woman is lesbian, you cannot seduce her. I don't know whether it's that's just a hard thing, or whether it's a minus 100 against chance seduce. So if you were the most charismatic bastard in the world, you could still do it or not. I'd need to double check that.
But it's just the seduce action. It's not like marriage.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it does say asexuality on screen right now. It says it on screen right now.
Oh, I love you.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. John! It says it on screen now. It's very uncommon, though. I've seen quite a bit of homosexuality and bisexuality. I've literally never seen an asexual in the wild. Mm-hmm. So, it's very uncommon. But okay, it's literally in front of me. Yay. That's a very good question, by the way. Because, of course, in 867 in Crusader Kings 2, you can find a few Hellenic faith people. I can't find any. So I don't think it exists, because we can actually check this. You can literally check. In fact, you know what? We'll come back to that in a second. Because you can check every religion in the world. You can check every religion in the world. So if we go over here, you can check other faiths, where you can filter it by only Christian. This is literally every faith that's in the world, and which counties are following it, or not. So this is, you can see there's, these are just the existing organised faiths, or some of them are unorganised, or unreformed at the beginning of the game. But there's a lot of cocking faiths! But some of them are so obscure, they're followed by a handful of people, but there's not a single county that follows them. So we could go through literally this entire list right now where you can see there's generic paganism, but that just like is basically a placeholder for where there's nothing else, and like literally no counties follow it. So I assume that might be needed for an event or something. So you got a bunch of Jewish faiths, and you've got the Muslims. They're kind of they're grouped. They're grouped by like what family there is. Now you can see here, Hellenism exists in the game. However, nobody's following it. So okay, we can confirm Hellenism does exist in the game. It's got communal identity, esotericism, and astrology. So it's just a normal religion. This is, wow, okay, I've just discovered this. I thought it wasn't here. So we've just discovered, can confirm, Hellenism does exist. And there's nothing to stop you converting to it. But you'd need to spend how much? That's 127,000 piety! It's quite expensive. Okay. So, you can bring Hellenism back. You can bring Hellenism back. However, the default cost to convert to it, because it's so different to my existing faith, is 10,000 faith. Because it exists already, it's a bit cheaper. Because I've got decent learning, it's a bit cheaper. However, because I'm converting from an organised faith to an unreformed one, plus 500 to cost, 50% because I'm feudal, 500% because it's dead, 200% because it's a different family, it's out of Christianity. So, if you want to convert, you can bring back Hellenism, but you would need to somehow get 127,000 piety in your life. I don't think I can check who people who are following it are. It doesn't tell you.
It's because it's a dead religion,
yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So Kale says converting to a dead religion is almost impossible because of exactly this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, okay, but okay, let's figure this out here. There are ways. Let's go over to learning here.
Okay, interesting. I had a question about learning. Mr. Ghostify wanted to know, is learning still trash? And can John give an overview of the learning focus?
No, learning's really good, but I'm not going to give you a full discussion of it because literally in 2 days' time on Wednesday, I'm going to release a massive in-depth video discussing all of the focuses, all of the trees, every single perk, and it will literally take me hours to do it, and I know because I did do it for hours, and Claire's editing it right now.
4 hours!
4 hours! But it's
really interesting, though.
Lifestyle is not trash. There are some trees in every, like, there is trees all over the place that are a bit trash. There are some trees that are amazing. And
some really circumstantial ones, you were saying, as well.
You know, the weird thing is, like, stewardship's good, but it's boring as fuck. That's the problem. The problem is, like, all the other ones have got really good role-playing potential. Stewardship's really powerful, but it's not very interesting, so I'm never going to use it. Learning's really fun. I was about to say, you've got the profit over here, but that only makes it cheaper to create a faith, or reform an existing faith. It doesn't make it cheaper to jump faith. So, okay, you'd need to have a religion that gave you a mechanism, like piety, really easily. Now, there are religions that do that, like, I was literally playing as Ghana before, where the Bedaic religion, like, you can use human sacrifice to, earn piety. But even then, I was, like, I think 6,000 in my life, like, it's there, but, like, honestly, I suspect this is going to be whoever can do this first, you know, props to them into the Crusader Kings community. Because looking at this, I'm just like, how the flip would you ever bring this back? It's theoretically possible to bring Hellenism back, but, okay, the thing is, you wouldn't, there's no point, because what you could just do instead is you could just make a new religion that was identical to Hellenism and call it Hellenism. You could just literally just like, say, well, fuck this noise, I'm just going to go to that, I'm just going to create a new Christian faith, and I'm going to give it all the same tenets as Hellenism, so I'm just going to give it all the same stuff, like astrology, that's sex worship, though that one sounds fun, we'll go for that too. You could give it all the same stuff Hellenism had, you could call it Hellenism, you just call it Hellenism, you could give it all the same doctrines and whatever, and then you'd have Hellenism, and then it would be 50% cheaper to do, using the prophet perk. So, I mean, even if you get up to, like, exalted among men, like the highest level of piety, level of devotion, you become a religious icon, that doesn't get you piety faster. It just means in some religions, clergy like you more, and in other religions, everybody who's of the same religion likes you more, which is what happens in Muslim religions, which is really powerful. In Catholicism, being really pious, the clergy just like you more, but like in, I think, like all of the Islamic religions, it's way more powerful. Because, actually I can't verify that because that's up here, but like, I'm pretty sure, because I checked previously, that, yeah, basically all the Islamic religions, it's everybody, it's not just the priests, which is really, really strong. So, and yes, obviously you can name your own religions, and you can use that to create, you know, Mormon boat people, or whatever you want to do, to be honest, so that's a thing. But okay, I've discovered something new I didn't know. Hellenism is absolutely in this game, but like, I think it might be physically impossible to actually bring it back. I don't know how you would bring it back. And you could just create a new version that's exactly the same. So I think, like, recreating it as, like, new Hellenism, hooray. Though actually, ooh, okay, there's a downside. If you create a new Hellenism, you don't get a say over its holy sites. Old Hellenism has real holy sites, which have actually moved since Crusader Kings 2, weirdly. And by the way, if you're part of a religion, controlling the holy sites now gives a benefit to literally everyone who follows that religion. So if Hellenism controls Rome, all Hellenists gain stewardship and development, which is like advancement. Athens for diplomacy +1, stewardship +1, which is really good. Sparta, martial +1, combat +1. Alexandria, learning plus level of devotion, which is basically how good you are in terms of religion over time, +2. Hellenist, natural dread +5 for controlling Carthage. Don't know why Carthage. That's weird.
Folks are saying that it's possible to bring Hellenism back if you're already pagan.
If you're already pagan, that would be easier, yes. Because then you'd be part of... Actually, no. Because it's not part of the pagan family. It's part of the Greco... This is part of the Greco-Roman. Ah, okay, yes, I see. It's part... The subcategory is pagan, yes. Okay, let's jump over to someone who's... Let's just jump ship to someone who's actually pagan. Let's just jump ship to a pagan over here. So we got just a nice and lovely pagan man right here. So him, you're right, it's going to be cheaper for him to do it. So all other faiths, not just Finnic faiths, like literally all of them. And then where's... Oh, you're arranging these. How are you arranging these? Just arrange them in a way that makes sense, you bastards. Get down to the bottom. Generic paganism. Where's it gone? There it is. Okay, so convert to this faith. So that's going to cost... Okay, so that's a much more reasonable 37,000 faith needed for that. So the base is 5,000. Learning makes it a bit cheaper. Because it's existing, it's a tiny bit cheaper. But it's still plus 500%. So the best you're going to be able to do, because it's still a different religion. So, yeah, I mean... I don't know if you could... I don't even know if it's possible to earn 40,000... like, piety in a single lifetime. I don't know if that's possible. Like, that would be insane. Because, like, bear in mind, I'm gaining 0... This guy's paying 0.9, so he's getting, like, you know, like, 10 to 12 a year. And you need 40,000. And you don't live that long in... Like, I don't know if you'd need to, like... I don't know if, by the way, the Immortal event is still present. I've not come across it.
Yeah, that was one of the questions.
I haven't seen it. Let's see if immortality is listed at all in the encyclopedia.
Can you also search for Tanistry when you're done, because searching for that, because people wanted you to do that as well?
Tanistry?
Yeah.
Is not showing up. It has not appeared.
Also, from Daniel, are there societies, and also are there blood
bands? Oh! No! Tanistry did just show up!
Nice!
Okay. Tanistry elective is somewhere. So the ruler and all vassals of 1 or 2 below the title can nominate an heir, the Tanis, from among members of the ruler's dynasty. Vassals will tend to favour older, distant relatives over close family. However, it does not specify how you access it. But I can confirm Tanistry is in the game. Tanistry is in the game, we just don't know where.
Interesting. Matt in the chat says the devs have alluded that there are special events to bring back Hellenism if, quote, the right conditions are met.
No.
So that's interesting.
I mean, logically, that's going to be controlling the holy sites, which weirdly now is including Carthage.
And Pizza Delivery says, in a dev diary they said that it was a thing, but it wasn't enabled without mods. And I don't know if you mean Tanistry.
Yeah.
If you have a comment, please be quite detailed.
So we found Tanistry. We found Tanistry, but we don't know how to access it. We've no clue how to bloody access the thing, because even in Cornwall, who is like, Cornwall, Brittany, and Wales would be the logical places for it to appear. It just doesn't. It just doesn't appear. So it's just not there. So it's not showing up as an option. Whether that means it's not enabled right now, but like it's going to be at some point, is really unclear. But like, arguably the bigger rush is like, it would be nice to have like the Byzantine and the Holy Roman Empire back to how they should be. I'm going to check on the Holy Roman Empire. I'm just going to very quickly check like what they've got.
Also, let's see. Eranara says, you mentioned that the settlements had different style. Could you move over to like Constantinople to look how fancy their settlements are?
Sure, we'll do a little flyby in a second. We'll just quickly check on Holy Roman Empire and check what's going on with them.
Delivery says immortality is an option in the files.
Ah.
Very good.
Yeah, right now even the Holy Roman Empire is Confederate partition. So the fancy Holy Fury. Well, actually, it wasn't Holy Fury. It was the free update that came with Holy Fury, I think. The special ones are just not enabled by default. So Byzantium just starts off as Primogeniture. Holy Roman Empire starts off as Confederate Partition. So that's tricky. So yes, if we just kind of let's zoom in to 1066. Oh yeah, you got the Hagia Sophia. There. They could do with being a little bit bigger, to be honest. Like, one thing, actually, in all fairness, that's the city right there, and then that'll be the Hagia Sophia right next to it. I think, like, some of the cities, it would be nice if they spread out more. Like, one thing that Imperator did really nicely, was you had territories filled up with houses, really nicely, whereas if you zoom right in, you can see they're like vaguely architecturally appropriate, but they look very small. Even what should be quite big cities like Athens over here it just feels like it's a tiny Motte and Bailey. So like you've got some like architectural variation, but they feel very small, and I wouldn't mind, like, you can see there, like say over here in Carthage, you can see the style of the tower and the style of the church is a bit nice if they felt a bit bigger. Well, and I wouldn't mind seeing towns spreading out and filling their entire county when they become like prosperous or big. Maybe like because there's not really a population system in this game, maybe like representing development goes up, or like as the amount of building or the tech. I mean, maybe that happens. That might happen anyway, but like it just looks to me that like even this place, which has got like a couple of techs already built, has like nothing going on. So it built out a bit. That's definitely true.
Lots of questions about about non-Christian religions, the ones that we've not looked at yet.
Yes.
About what Satanism is like in Crusader Kings 3, and also just general successions for other religions as well.
I don't believe Satanism is specifically a religion. Instead, you can pick up a trait that says you are like satanic or whatnot. But it's more like it's a thing that means Christians judge you. I don't think it's actually a religion you can join. I'm willing to be correct. I'm literally like, feel free to pause the stream. I'm going through literally every religion that exists in the world right now, and I don't believe Satanism exists. It's not like a religion you can. It's not a religion you can join. Or rather, like it was like that was. It was. I'm not sure it was actually a thing in Crusader Kings 2, because wasn't it? It was the absences. This is why like I wouldn't give this game a 100 out of 100. I think like the people who did that got a bit overexcited because there are absolutely things that are missing, which it's nice to have. Like societies is a big one. the one, and this is relatively small, but it's one that I think I feel the absence of.
Yeah, shout out to Daniel who asked about societies and about things that are missing from base games.
Yeah.
So,
one of the big things for me is treasury. The treasury is gone, meaning you no longer have, like, a bunch of items that you control. You don't have having a certain amount of things in my treasury that you felt like were being passed down from person to person. Because it meant that, like, it felt there was a sense of continuity. Like, Payrun's axe was passed down from person to person. It was nice to keep having that. Yeah. But, like, you don't have that anymore. So there's a bit more of, like, a separation. What you've got instead, and also like, the way characters work has changed a bit, which is you get less permanent traits, but they matter a bit more. Like, they tend to, like, be a bit more meaningful, and you get more events tied to them. But generally, characters will start off, you're like, so just about everyone has, like, not more than, like, 3 or 4 traits, generally. And then, as you go through the lifestyle, you'll pick up these traits at the end, are the special lifestyle traits that are very powerful. Actually, some of them are. I'm going to discuss this in my videos on Wednesday. Some of them are kind of traps.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of people in chat pointing out the learning thing where it reduces conversion by 75%, which I am telling them we do know because of the video.
The conversion by 75%.
Yes.
Which one's the conversion by 75%?
I mean...
Because I don't remember conversion by 7... I'm some
what? Religious conversion?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what people are saying.
Well, you've got profit, which is faith creation reformation down by 50%. 50. I don't remember which perk are they talking about.
They haven't actually said.
If you... What did you... Yeah, chat, let us know what you mean by 75% conversion cost down. Because, looking over the options, I don't remember seeing that. And I don't remember seeing that at all.
Chulio in chat says, video on Wednesday, how intriguing. Yeah, I mean, we just thought we'd prefer to, like, stream this today and then
just have a chat about it.
Yeah. Speaking of having...
I mean, we're doing a video later anyway, so we just thought we'd have a chat.
Apostate?
Yeah.
In the middle of the tree, apostate.
Of
a different tree. There we go.
Oh, over here. Yes, okay, over here in Scholar. Yes, okay. So faith conversion cost. So, okay,
you can
take
everybody.
that. Yeah, get that. You get that down. So if you were pagan, you could get it down to 10,000 piety, which is still really high, but is at least vaguely doable.
I mean, I guess if you start on that character,
yeah,
like if you start playing as that character really young, and then you can rack up.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, sorry, I'd forgotten that there was a bit of religion in the middle of Scholar, but yeah, Scholar's also got a bit to do with religion. I'd forgotten that was there. But yeah, okay, so you can get that to like even getting 10,000 piety on one character is difficult. It's not easy.
Sure.
So that's very that is definitely on the tricky side. People asking why the Emperor has a fabric belt. What if we don't like the Emperor wearing a fabric belt? We could change him to wear whatever we want. We can just make him wear anything. Just rags if you feel like it. Just, if you feel like putting the Emperor into whatever you want, just make him wander around in a nightgown. Yeah, there you go. Now the Emperor's in a nightgown. So if you want to humiliate your opponent, you can just like basically just go over, switch character, switch to them, and put them in something embarrassing, give them a bad haircut, then jump back to your set, then switch character back to you. And congratulations, you've just humiliated your opponent for no good reason. Though I like this, because like in the small version, he's wearing a hoodie with little kind of dangly tacks. So just put the Holy Roman Emperor in a hoodie, because I feel like it.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. Do you know if there's bloodlines in this game yet? That was quite late, wasn't it?
That was quite late. Yeah. There is. Hang on, I believe it is a decision. Yes, okay, so kind of. You can consecrate your bloodline. So you can create a bloodline that's kind of like... but that's like, it works to dynasty level, not at like a direct blood descendant level. So by decision, if say in Catholicism, or basically wherever you are, if the head of faith loves you, if Catholicism is organised, if you control a holy site, if your level of devotion is really high, and you've got a giant pile of faith to spend, then you can gain the trait Paragon. So, religious vassal plus 20, which is kind of garbage actually. Giant pile of renown, which is useful for your dynasty, and... doesn't actually give you anything like going forward, because you gain the trait Paragon, so that's not really a bloodline, to be honest, because now instead you just gain renown, which affects your renown, which is the new dynasty currency, which I'll be going into in detail in my one-off special video tomorrow, because you've got like a bunch of, so there's a bunch of stuff you can do by decision, like creating, on this occasion actually I can't, of course I can't create a kingdom or create emperor. I'm already the Holy Roman Emperor. But yeah, you can only create your own, create your own stuff by decision. So you have the ability to do that. There's Mend the Great Schism. If you want to mend the Great Schism, you can try and do that straight away. What did I actually do?
Alright, so we have $50, thank you so much, from Not a Bot, who has to leave soon. Sorry, I'm gonna actually make John shut up and read some super chats, because that's not happened yet for like an hour.
I guess that's fair.
Not a Bot says, Happy Crusader King 3 Day! New week, new asking for Fallout 4, YOLO/yo-yo. Much love. I've been watching since the Kotaku article about the channel. Love every playthrough that you do. Much love for all of you, and make sure you keep hydrated.
We've got water right here. And every time everyone brings up Fallout 4 Yo-Yo, I push it back another week. Oh, here's a cute thing, by the way, which is special, like, ancient wonders of the world and stuff are on the map, and they exist, and they actually have a purpose. Yeah. So, for example, like in Rome, there is a special Colosseum building, so that leads to army maintenance down in your realm by 5%, building construction time down by 10% inside this holding. So that's kind of what you get. And yeah, you've also got the the Aurelian walls, so fart level up, garrison size up, garrison up, hostile raid time takes a lot longer, levy size up, so that one's really nice. That one's really nice indeed. So basically, what you've got, there's like there was a really good example of this somewhere. I think was it you over here that's got a good example of that. I can't remember. I know there's a good. Here it is. There's a good example over here. I'm just going to go over to this guy who I've seen this before, because this guy can show you a really good example. So if you've got has basically just a bunch of slots, where you can just have basic buildings, like, hey, I want slightly more money, or more garrison, or more fort level, or loads more money, or more levies, or basic boring stuff. However, if a territory is also the capital of a duchy, it's got a special duchy building slot. So those buildings are more expensive, but they're really good. And they can also affect the entire realm. So these buildings are really, really damn powerful. So like siege weapon of effectiveness plus 20% in the entire realm if you've built one siege works in one of your duchies. So that's really powerful. That's really, really damn cool. And there's loads of these. You can see, look how many of these there are. They can affect all sorts of stuff. Like all your holdings in the entire duchy, 10% taxes. Leisure Palace. Everyone loves a Leisure Palace. Your realm prestige up 5%. Stress loss. Hostile scheme success chance plus 5. Really good. Royal Preserves for loads of tax. These are really powerful buildings. So that's something you can build in a duchy capital. However, these guys, there is also special buildings. Some of them already exist on the map. Like, some form of special system. And by the way, as far as there's nothing to stop you doubling these up. So if you want to, have several of those, you could just do that. In fact, can we actually verify that with you right now? What duchies do you have right now? Go over here. Yes, if I wanted to. I don't have the money. I don't have the money to test. But I think you can have duplicates to just keep stacking the effect. But if it is, some places just have special buildings, like ones of the ancient world. However, the reason there is a special building slot right here is because these guys are, part of a pagan religion, and this is one of the holy sites. So as these piety up across the entire realm, really, taking over your own holy sites is really powerful because you can build grand temples that are so good. They're really good, and that's such a lovely thing. So that's really cool. That's a really, really damn cool thing.
Are we still with the Holy Roman Empire right now?
We can be.
I've got a couple of questions about that. Roman, sorry about probably butchering your name. Do Roman emperors still have the born in the purple traits for their heirs?
Do you mean the Byzantine Empire for born in the purple?
Well, that's what the question says. Let's see, and Aman wants to know if you can show the effects of reforming the Roman Empire. Does it convert people to Hellenism?
I don't know if I can see that. Hang on, we've just moved over to Byzantine right now. So let's check the decisions that Byzantine has available. So, find a holy order, consecrate bloodline, dynasty of many crowns, restore the Roman Empire. Okay, so Byzantine does get restore the Roman Empire as an option. So Roman Empire will be 5 a month plus 10. You gain the Roman Empire, which will just exist. Let's just have a little look-see at that. So, does that actually, do we know what the rules for succession for that is? It does not say. Yeah, that costs 1,000 gold. What a rip-off. Copy. It'll just be the Byzantine Empire. So it'll just replace Byzantine. So you need to have 5,000 prestige, all of the appropriate things. I will restore the Empire. So it doesn't say. I mean, the thing is, it might create a decision to revive Hellenism, which is what happened in Crusader Kings 2. Like, just doing it, let you revive it. That might happen, but obviously I can't just, very quickly take over Europe to verify that.
Yeah, the thing is, I've got a lot of questions that are very, specific.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be able to address all of the very specific questions. So I am kind of going more for very general questions. But I think people are a bunch about.
People will like this one though. They also have the decision: dismantle the German pretenders to destroy the Holy Roman Empire and just destroy the title. So, if you've got 10,000 prestige and you completely control a bit of territory in Europe, you can just start a war which, if you win, will destroy the title, Holy Roman Emperor. It'll just be gone. So you can dismantle the German pretenders. Mend the schism, of course, which is excellent. So that would make orthodoxies, it further goes up, and further of all the other Christianities goes up, goes down even, so that will be absolutely lovely too. Oh dear, spectacular. I can't remember if that was a thing going forward there. That's actually very true. I've not seen, you know what, sorry, we got distracted, didn't we?
We always do.
We got extra distracted, which is we didn't actually finish going through the rules.
Oh yeah,
the game rules.
Oh my god, it's so hectic right now, John. Like you don't know.
There we go. So you've got a special destroy the Holy Roman Empire. Where did we get up to? What was it that distracted me last time? Sexuality distribution and faith acceptance. So faith attitude towards other faiths. So by default, say Christianity tends to be okay with variants of itself, but generally you hate everything that's not part of your own family. Whereas you can just set full faith acceptance if you just kind of don't want there to be holy wars or whatever. So you can just turn that off. Randomized faiths. So you can just have random faiths just everywhere. In which case, okay, so if you turn that on, there will be Hellenists in the world, somewhere, there will be Hellenists. Because presumably, dead faiths might just be generated. And you can also just have completely... So yeah, you've got randomised on straight away. Rulers are randomly placed, but they convert to local faith. So randomly... let's just start a game where I turn on all the random. So all the random stuff, some of it's back anyway. Nudity's a thing, by the way, because there's a religion over in India which doesn't believe in clothes. You never see genitals. But you will actually see, on the boobies, you will see the ladies' sin buttons. So, just be aware.
I believe you are allowed to say the word nipple.
Shh!
Even if they are female-presenting nipples.
They are sin buttons, and nothing more. So you can turn nudity off.
I don't know, I don't think you need it to be more than that. I think sin buttons are already pretty good. But,
and the Hungarian migration, there's a couple of different settings for that. So that's it. That's how we go. I'm just going to start a game with all the randomised shit on, and we're just going to see whether Hellenism exists.
Oh my god. Okay.
See if Hellenism exists. Why not? I assume that's they. Yeah, you know what? Randomise all the things. Make everyone a random religion and everything. Random. Pretty we're gonna just see this right now, so... I mean, it's saying they're still... It's saying these guys are still, like, the religion they're supposed to be. With shit on toes, so maybe it means, like... Does it mean, like people in your court? I'm just gonna start as, like, Harold Godwinson. Bad person to be, under the circumstances. No! It gets shuffled the moment he begins, so... Right, the title screen's lying. So actually, Harold Godwinson is now Donny Poloist. An unreformed Tani faith? Okay, quickly, to the religion screen. Holy shit! I'm so happy!
Yeah, well, Pizza Delivery wanted to know if you could show the religion map, but I think they,
Welcome to the new improved religion map! I've made it...
If you can show it in...
Presumably he wants to go on a pilgrimage to India now! Do it now! Go! Yes, he's going on a Donny Poloist pilgrimage! Quickly! To where's he going? What's furthest away? I want the furthest away thing. They're all... pretty far away, so it's quite expensive. Yeah, we're going to Tezu. He's going to Tezu. We're off to. So I'm setting off on my. We're setting Harold Goldstein. You know what? England's not a fun place to be right now. So we're just gonna go. We're just gonna see what shows up on them on my pilgrimage. Oh, I've got lost. I could have sworn this was the road to India. Wow. Fuck! I've got lost! I swear India's just a bit more in this direction! We just keep going, we'll reach India! Oh no!
Are you okay?
This is no time to give up. I don't care if I've got a cold. We have to push on a Walk to India. We're going. I've made it! In like 3 months. That was very fast.
It was always very fast in CK2 as well, so I'm kind of glad that is still the same, because it was always that fast.
Actually, the nice thing is, because I've gone so far, I've picked up like 1,000 piety, which is great.
You only need to do that 9 more. times and then we can reform Hellenism.
That was a surprisingly quick back as well. That was a surprisingly quick jaunt to India and back. Okay, now we need we need to find I don't know how I'm going to find Hellenism. Oh, hang on. If I use the character searcher, I should be able to find a if I search by religion, if I search for literally everybody, right, because that should be everybody in the world. Right, now arrange by can I have you arrange by religion? How do I arrange you by religion? Fudge. Okay, search for... Is it Hellenism? Yes, Hellenism, faith. Holy... The King of Mongolia! The King of Mongolia's Hellenic! It's back! Okay, so if you want Hellenism in your game, you need to set random faiths, because apparently the King of Mongolia... The King of Mongolia is... Yep, we have got a massive, powerful Hellenic king! He's back! Yes!
Amazing.
The shit! Okay, so it's not quite as, comprehensive as, the randomized buttons that they introduced in Holy Fury. Was it the free update with Holy Fury? It was one of the two. But you can randomize everything. So there we go. That's great mess if you want to. Yay! Oh, this is wonderful. There's a Dutch person who's Hellenic. She's down in. Okay, she's Dutch, but she's controlling a bit of. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so this is the random. Let's not stay in the random world. The random world is a silly place.
Pizza delivery who wanted to see that.
Yep, so there are more religions than there used to be. Obviously, in particular, down in Africa, you should just be African pagan, and the whole thing was just African pagan. Now it's been broken out. They've had to make a couple of assumptions about some of the religions, but there's a nice bunch of them down over there, and they've all got their own unique stuff, unique flavors, unique holy sites and everything, which is very cool. Indeed, you've got Insula Christianity, big parts of Catholicism. Obviously, you've got less paganism in the 1066 start. There's more of it floating around in 867. Orthodoxy up to Russia. You've got Tengri, of course, very familiar, or shows up all the time in Crusader Kings 2. Coptic and Kushite down over here, and Waki down over here, kind of down towards Ethiopia way. Various sects of Islam, in particular, mainly these three, kind of the most predominant in the world, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff over here, including you've got Nestorianism if you want a bit of Christianity in this part of the world, and then loads more. And I'm not going to click too closely because somewhere around here is the Nudi tribe. There are some nudists. They're somewhere around here or something. I think it might be one of these. So we're not going to click on them in case they show their boobs, and that would be sinful and wrong, and also YouTube would hate it.
Do we have adverts on live streams normally?
I can't remember. Possibly.
maybe when we put them, when we upload them afterwards, that's the problem. I was going to say.
So that's the religious thing, and yeah, if you click on a religion, it shows you where all the holy sites are, which is really cool, and also shows you what the Catholics gain when they get the UI is lovely. The UI's been improved so much, it's so nice. Just click, and all of a sudden there's holy sites, and there's what they do, which is really powerful. So that's really cute, and similarly, let's go over to the culture map, which is that one's very similar to what you've already seen, but again, Africa in particular has had the most work because they've now been split out into loads of different stuff as opposed to just being lumped together as generic Africa, which is nice. And obviously, because of the way research works, there is an advantage to being a really small culture because it means you get control of your tech tree relatively more easily. If you're Greek, it's going to be really difficult to control your tech tree because the emperor's going to control it. So if you're a small Greek person, it's going to be really small. It's going to be really difficult for you to do that. Same's going to be true for Russia. Anglo-Saxon, basically, it's just going to be the King of England controlling that. So it's going to be a little bit on the tricky side in that regard. So part of a very small culture like Cornish or Welsh. There's loads of them. And actually, I like how the Scots is actually its own tiny culture separate from Gaelic. I can't remember if that was true in Crusader Kings 2 or not. But that's kind of fun. And there's actually, Norse is actually its own, even though, obviously, if we kind of just go back over to religion, these guys have gone Catholic, culturally, Norse. By the way, what text you start with, it kind of varies culture to culture. So you can see here, just which ones are flicking to, green or not. It's kind of quite similar, but it does make a bit of a difference to just kind of provides a tiny bit of variance. And you can also see which each of these cultures is, where the fascination from the culture head is has decided to put their attention with. Culture map. Let's move over here to make sure you see the mysteriously wibbly torn map as if they're planning to extend it. To me, anyway. Another one is which is very similar to the existing map, just with a different thing written on it, to be honest. And then there's a bunch of little extra ones. There's now only 7 showing up. There's slightly fewer. You've got the county map if you want that, which is zoomed this far out is kind of bananas on toast. You've got your terrain map, which is the simplified terrain map, which is very useful for figuring out if there's somewhere you want to guard or not guard in particular. So if you've got forests, wetlands, kind of keep in terms of warfare, that can be very, very useful indeed. So that can be quite useful. Development, of course, useful for spotting the more or less advanced territories in terms of where tech is likely to be better or worse. And government showing what's going on in the world. So mainly, of course, you've got feudalism, tribalism, and the clan around here. Though if you notice a few dots of red, there will be the Republic, which you cannot play as right now. You can control them. And of course, theocracies for any shit lots. Claire's waving at me.
We are so behind.
I want to talk about Crusader Kings 3.
I know, and I've been asking you questions from chat specifically about the game, but now we... CK3 this morning, thank you for your Twitter replies. Most of this should go to Claire for working on a bank holiday, hashtag Cult of Claire. I did volunteer and I'm getting the day back in Leo and another day. It's fine.
Yes.
You do this kind of work, you have to be a bit flexible, and we're quite happy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And Isildur gave us 50 euros. And so since I get the game for free, take my money instead. I love all the content that you two create.
Oh, thank you very, very much indeed.
Yes, indeed.
I did see someone in chat, by the way, just mentioned they wanted to see the tenets of the Jewish faith. So I'm just going to find the most populous Jewish faith, and I will put that on screen for you in just a second.
Yes, and then, I mean, I've got a lot of questions that people have been asking in chat for like a million years, so there is a system, John.
Yes.
Shout out to Joseph, who was very patient, because that was one of the very first super chats at the beginning of the stream. I'm very sorry. Joseph gave us $20 Australian and says, due to real world commitments, I cannot buy this game until November. So John, I need to live vicariously through you. Please don't screw this up.
We'll do our best. This is kind of like, I thought this would just be like, I just wanted this to be like a nice chatty chill stream where like if you had questions about the game or you wanted to hear my experience of it, you can. So honestly, there's probably going to be much like, to this, sure, to be honest. Like, but there's plenty of that to come. Just to confirm, like tomorrow, that's when video embargo is. That's why we're doing a live stream, because the live stream embargo was one day before the video embargo. So that's why we're doing the live stream today. Tomorrow is going to be a special one-off video that's really cool. It's so fun. It looks at all the it particularly focuses on the wacky new stuff that's been introduced by Crusader Kings 3 and has a proper narrative to it. And on Wednesday, there's a big deep dive guide to the lifestyles, because there's like how many is it? It's 27 perks across 3 trees times 3, 1 for each of the 5. So there's like 120, 130 something perks arranged over 15 trees with 15 focuses. So, there's a lot of figuring out how to build a good character, and some of them are kind of garbage and some of them are really good. So, we'll get to that. Clap.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Herbie, who gave us £2 and says, John, thoughts on Crusader Kings 5? And Damon, who gave us £10 and says, CK4 livestream won!
Skip it. Just wait for Crusader Kings 6.
I see. Point gave us, I need to look up that currency.
Gave us parcel tongue.
No, this is how you know, by the way, that it's a busy stream, is if I forget to look up the currencies ahead of, saying the super chats. Shout out to the book 778, who gave us £5 and says, a king, a castle, and everything else.
Excellent.
And Jess gave us £3 and a lovely little pear sticker. Thank you very much, with little heart eyes.
Excellent.
Michael gave us $10 and says, hello, I love this music.
The music is damn good. Okay, so that's how far behind you are. Got it.
Yeah, and I read 2 of them, and then you spoke for an hour.
Sorry.
And a half. Thomas $10 and says, who disliked this, lols?
I don't know. Some people just aren't into Crusader Kings for some reason.
They are wrong.
They are.
I mean, people can like the things that they like, but I like this thing. I like this thing.
No, you can't like. They're not allowed to like things they like. Boo. Boo, I say.
Yeah, sorry. No, what happens is sometimes I see a name and my brain wants to say it the French pronunciation, and I'm like, no, wait, I'm sure this is
well, just a very quick thing to show off here, by the way, which is you notice that buildings, of course, have many levels. They're less gated behind tech than they used to be. So, hell, as long as you've got the money, you can keep it just improving things. So there's nothing to stop you just basically, getting your military camps and just building them straight up to level X. It doesn't say anything like, hey, you need to do X, Y, or Z. But I don't know, does it actually say anything about... Yeah, it just says cost. It just says cost.